Hello, this is Dahlia Burgoyne, and welcome to your free training on why negative relationship patterns happen and what to do about it. You're in the right place if you're tired of having to go through wrong relationship after wrong relationship. Maybe you're someone who's had a trauma that's causing you problems in your current love life. Maybe you're someone that is tired of having to put in all the effort to make relationships work. Maybe you're someone that just can't even seem to hold on to a relationship. Well, if any of these sound like you are in the right place. So I just wanted to take a few moments to simply brush up on where I come from. I had a lot of issues with self-love that blocked me from finding my soulmate. Fortunately, I was able to overcome that at a young age, but just finding one's soulmate doesn't guarantee a happy relationship. Falling in love is a natural reaction to being around someone that pushes all the right buttons for us and someone who chemically, energetically just align with us. Falling in love is the easy part. It's biological. It's energetic. There's so many things that make it so easy. But having a very functional and happy long-term relationship, that is something that isn't natural. Most of us just don't know how to be happy in a long-term relationship, and the reason is because most of us aren't taught. Unlike falling in love, which was very important for us on an evolutionary standpoint, being in a long-term relationship was not something our ancestors had to do in order to spread our genes. In fact, it wasn't even normal to stay in a relationship for more than 4 years. Long-term and lifetime relationships are actually a really new concept in the human timeline. So even if we find our soulmate, it doesn't mean our relationship is going to work out or be happy or that it'll even last. Because even though having a deeper level of connection is awesome, if you're bringing all of your old baggage or destructive patterns into the relationship and you're not in a good place with yourself, then there's really no way you can have a happy, joyful, and functional relationship with anybody. So, as I was saying earlier, I found my soulmate early, but it took me years to find out how to make our intense love last. And we had to go through a lot of down times, a lot of bad stuff in order for me and him to figure. Today, you will learn about negative relationship patterns, why they happen, with a practical explanation, and what needs to happen for you to have a wonderful experience in relationships. So let's begin. One of the things I hear is that once they get into a good relationship, or if it's looking like someone is good, they self-sabotage and end things before they can get hurt. So let's actually look at this idea of self-sabotage in a different way. When we have the experience of self-sabotage, what's happening is we're reaching our comfort threshold, and anything beyond our comfort threshold is going to feel too scary. What does our subconscious do when something is too scary? Well, what it's doing is actually trying to protect us from something that it thinks is a threat to us. So let's think about that for a second. We're thinking we're self-sabotaging, but in reality, the subconscious is trying to protect us. And it's trying to protect us from a misguided idea that seems very scary to us. Another issue we have is that many of us are mainly motivated to find love in order to stop feeling some sort of pain. And this is similar to why I wanted to find love as a teenager. I somehow thought love would somehow fix my issues. So here's one of the things about human nature that is important to know. We are motivated in two ways. One way is to get away from pain, and the other way is to have pleasure. When we're motivated to do something simply to stop pain, we're only motivated until the pain is gone. So let me repeat that again because this is important. When we're only motivated to do something to stop pain, we're only motivated until the pain is gone. So let me give you an example of this. Let's say, for example, we want to make some money and we tell ourselves, oh, I need some money. But the reason why we want the money is because we're really past due on some bills. That's the main reason. In fact, even if I were to say, hey, if I were to give you $3,000, what would you do? Oh, I would pay off these past due bills. And so if that is the main reason that you're wanting to make money, then what's going to happen is you will only make money until the bills are paid and the urgency is gone. Because once we feel a little comfortable or secure, and those bills are paid and the pain is gone, the motivation will go right out the window because the pain is not there anymore. So let's talk a little bit about pain and the negative cycles about relationships. When we are going into love for a painful reason, I like to say there are 4 phases, sometimes 5. So I'm going to go through the phases, see if any of these sound familiar. First phase, we are falling in love. So at first you're in love with somebody and it feels like you're totally whole. This person feels like they complete you and you just feel so excited even thinking about them. Usually this is a very intense feeling. Before you may have been depressed or had some kind of pain, or there may have been something you felt was wrong with you, and miraculously now that you're with this person, you feel so complete. You feel whole, and I would actually say you feel healed. You may not think of it that way, but you feel amazing. And it's just, everything is just wonderful because this person is in your life. So this is phase 1. Phase 2, this is the clingy or needy phase. So what happens in phase 2 is you start to notice that sometimes the person doesn't meet your needs. At first it's like you were just so happy just to get a message from this person. You were over the moon for anything they did. But now it's starting to feel like they're not doing enough. And it starts to make you feel a little bit needy sometimes. And sometimes you might feel clingy and you might feel like you want more of their time. Phase 3 is the obsession phase, and that's when you're really feeling like you're addicted to this person. And the reason why is because your body is actually feeling a strong drug that is so addictive by falling in love. Now, if we had a drug all the time, 24 hours a day, we wouldn't feel addiction. We wouldn't notice a difference. But once you start feeling euphoric around the person you love, and you feel high when you're with them, and we're literally feeling a chemical high, then sometimes, either because they're not there 24 hours a day or they're not meeting your needs, you start to feel low. So you feel like you're aching and yearning for them. And you're so fixated on getting them and constantly thinking about being around them. This is the phase of being addicted to that euphoric feeling. And quite literally, there are a lot of brain chemicals that fade and your body is just really craving them. So there is a literal level of addiction going on. And so phase 4. So what happens when we become addicted to something? Well, we start to build a tolerance. We start to need more in order to get the same fix. That the pain that you had before, the pain that you were running away from, it starts to come back. And the problem is, instead of realizing, oh, I was just high because I was with this person and I just had all of these amazing chemical feelings happening inside of me, you may actually start thinking, it must be this person's fault. It must be something that they're doing. It must be something wrong with the relationship. And so we blame the relationship and the pain that we're feeling on the other person, when in reality, it's our old pain coming back that we had there all the time that was just being covered up by us being high. Now, some of us might actually go into a 5th phase, and this is what I call the drama phase. And this is when we try to replace the high we get from being in love with chemicals, with the high we get from drama. And so what might happen is we might start trying to manipulate the other person into trying to force them to meet our needs. So instead of meeting our needs by expressing love or feeling love, we tend to look for other ways to get the other person's attention. And this is the part that tends to happen over and over again because unfortunately, as we've had this addiction to the euphoric feeling, and as we start to not be able to access that drug anymore, a new one comes in. And even though drama is not nearly as fun as euphoria and love and deep feelings of being in love, it is still a high. And it makes us feel alive, and we get addicted to that. And studies show that we can get an adrenaline rush, which can often help us to feel alive when we're using drama to start a fight or to get our partners to support us out of trying to make them feel guilt or fear. And another dramatic method is to get connection and emotional gratification through sadness. And this means getting into the poor me mode to elicit empathy, comfort, or support from the other party. Now, at no point am I saying these are all terrible. Absolutely not. Again, this is the self-conscious way of trying to protect you and support you in the way that it knows. So connecting in the poor me mode, it doesn't give you such a high intensity as arguing, but it is gratifying to have someone hug you. And it could be even more gratifying when someone doesn't empathize or show concern for your sadness, because then you can get angry and cause conflict that finally gets you the attention you want. So again, this is just another way to get connection. It's just that this way causes a lot of negativity and irritation. And when we're doing so much negativity and irritation, our body begins to associate the drama with pleasure. So it's important for us to be able to look at these situations and see how we can replace them and meet our needs in a more functional way that's going to help your relationship grow. It's better to meet your needs in a way that helps you thrive and in a way that helps you to have functional communication where you can actually understand each other at a very deep level. And this is why so many relationships start out being so wonderful and then end up not being so wonderful, and they get stuck in these patterns. And so the key to not getting stuck and repeating this with every new relationship over and over again, or getting stuck in a relationship where you're just constantly fighting because you're addicted to the experience or constantly trying to get back that feeling of euphoria, is to change your motivation for being in love from being a motivation of escaping pain to doing it out of pleasure because you love it so much. So instead of doing all this craziness, we can stop. And instead, we can replace the whole thing with true love and a functional relationship that can be consistently pleasant, safe, and satisfying. Now, just imagine what that is like. So the first thing to change in these instances is the motivation of pain. As a species, we are designed to remember pain first. It is a survival strategy. It is how we've evolved and survived all these years. But we can have incredible strides and success once we are motivated to have a good love life out of pleasure, or rather, because we love the idea of being in love. So in order to strive in love, it's important to create safety and to take baby steps in changing those negative behavioral patterns. It has been such a pleasure and an honor to be working with you, even in this way and through this training. And I wish the very best for you. And I wish you to have the most joyful love life ever, even if it's just discovering your inner self. And there's no just about it. That is the most amazing love that we can experience. And so I leave you with these words and these blessings. May you be well and be mindful.